Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com with Tokens and dApps 101. So this will be the final part of the trilogy on sort of blockchain and cryptocurrency, and this just kind of talks about the future and what blockchain can be used for beyond just money transactions and banking services. But with the idea of tokens, you can create units of value that can represent anything, represent a car that someone purchased. And now basically in order to change title of the car, you just have to move the token from one address to another. So instead of having to go down to the local title office, and you can kind of apply that logic to anything. But also creating sort of security. What's happened up till now, you've had what's called an ICO, where people would create tokens on Ethereum or other blockchains, and they would sell the token not quite as ownership in the entity, but sort of as a pre-sale of a unit of value that was required to buy their service. So they were intending to create some sort of application, and you would pay for use of the application using this token that they create. And basically they would raise money to finance the project by basically selling the unit that you would pay for it in. Okay, so basically Civic was raising money to create sort of the ability for ID verification. Better Appreciation Token was raising money to allow you to pay for ads on their browser, which blocks out other ads. There's all sorts of different projects. The problem is, you raise this you buy this token. If that project never is completed, if it turns out it's the purchase of it is not as valuable as you want, the token doesn't necessarily appreciate as much as you would hope. You might actually even lose value. It's like any other investment. Other people issue tokens that actually did just represent ownership in the company, with like traditional stock, where you have voting power, and the tokens would allow you to vote and make decisions regarding the project. But now you're starting to have sort of another sort of method that's becoming a popular idea of being able to create tokens that have, because what happens is that in that older model where basically people are pre-selling tokens to buy it, well, now you're going to be moving towards a world where everyone has to use a different sort of token to purchase every service, and that gets complicated. But now people are thinking of developing tokens that you buy the token. What it does, instead of it giving you ownership in the project, instead of it being the token you use to buy the service, what it does, it gives you a stake in the fees that the service generates. So in that case, by owning these tokens, you get a periodic portion of the fees collected by that service. So you might own X token in the Ethereum blockchain. The actual service uses Ethereum as its currency to purchase the service, and then the transactions fees for the service in Ethereum then get sort of collected and paid out to the token holders in a pro rata or proportional fashion. So they become sort of a preferred stock in a sense. So there's new ways of financing using tokens. That's also interesting. You can create, but also more and more blockchains are creating ways of being able to process code right from the blockchain. So you don't need to have big computer server networks and whatnot. And as that gets more sophisticated, that means businesses that run online could be run in a decentralized way, which makes government regulation near impossible because there's no actual enterprise to regulate. If someone builds a program that's on a blockchain, that runs on a blockchain, do like an Airbnb or an Uber, well, localities can't regulate it because there's no entity they can enforce the rules on, because basically the code is self-sustaining. It processes it on the network, and then basically people provide services from the network. So someone is an Uber driver or Airbnb driver through a blockchain type alternative, they're providing their services directly through the blockchain, and probably whoever coded it makes money through ownership of a token of some sort, whether it's a token to pay for that service or a token that collects a portion of the fees from that service, etc. But they have no ability to change or alter it once it's released. It's out of their hands. So this creates sort of an ability for enterprise to really grow and expand, and free markets to expand in a way that evades government regulation and oversight in a new way. But on top of it, because of the nature of the incentives in blockchain, where everything is kind of designed to be decentralized, meaning you have to create incentives for everybody to play their role, the profits from the enterprise are more distributed than ever. So it creates, even through a free market, voluntary way, it creates a more egalitarian society, because you create this really awesome enterprise, this awesome decentralized business. Everything kind of gets shared between the people providing the service, receiving the service, people who've invested in the development of the service. All these tokens kind of share in the profits in a way, because that's the only way to create an incentive for everyone to participate, to keep this decentralized method going. So it does kind of create this new, more future for a more sort of egalitarian economy, which a lot of people on the left may like, but also protects free markets, which a lot of libertarians appreciate, and creates, but also, again, with blockchain, you can program rules and have very kind of strict enforcement of contracts, which is something everyone can appreciate. So the future that blockchain, cryptocurrency, tokens, and decentralized applications make possible is quite exciting. It's still the very early days of seeing all that develop, but in the future, it's going to be quite an exciting development that opens up a lot of doors for how we interact and basically making what seems like a large world much, much smaller. Have a great day and enjoy. My name is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com.